Now we are live. Cool. Thank you so much, and a very good morning to Kevin the Planner, all the way from Zimbabwe into your living rooms and kitchens and bathrooms and wherever people are joining from.
And we see in the back Kevin's beautiful pictures that like 2 weeks ago he put up when he was very creative. We have seen that. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys are having a great Sunday as well. I thought you guys were going to open another box today. In the morning, I went on your Instagram and I was like, it's the box of flowers.
We have actually, we actually still have, I think, 2 boxes, and we thought we have to keep them now until the very last moment, until everything is open for sale again, and people can also purchase, because right now also it's quite still a little bit like uncertain how the sale of flour can proceed here in South Africa. There are sort of mixed messages a little bit.
From Friday to yesterday to this morning, we have got 3 emails from the flower market with different content. So we still don't know exactly what's going on, but I think by middle of next week, everybody will have a clear answer. We really hope and crossing fingers, holding thumbs that the market can be open again. And also this means that the shops can sell, because when the market can open and nobody can sell, it doesn't make sense. But this is also at the moment the situation that needs to be clarified, and I think that is a legal discussion still right now, if this is permitted or not. But first of all, thank you so much for talking to us and giving us the opportunity to put lipstick on a Sunday morning. It hasn't happened for long. I can tell you, happy.
I mean, you can also see me in a blazer, hey? I just thought, you know what, with the ladies and their lipstick, I need to come also looking,
Sharp. You look sharp, yes.
I am in my house, but I just thought, you know what does it hurt? Let me just put on my blazer, we're not sure when we're going to...
Pajama party.
Yeah, so I did it for you, ladies.
And for the world, basically. I mean, we know that you have a lot of people following us, and I actually also followed you. I mean, we follow you for the longest time, but
we are stalking.
You're talking, and you also call me in front of the beach at your house. I know.
Well, I actually said to Alfie, why we cannot just turn the computer, because we are looking towards the sea and we want everyone to see the sea. So we have technical issues with that at the moment. We are two ladies. We are 2 ladies in one house. There's no technician here. So we still have to figure out how we can do that with the right light and that the sound and everything. And also our internet is not the best at the moment. We struggled since a couple of days, and I think that also is because almost everyone in the country is on internet now, which wasn't before. So we hope somehow people can see us, but it's not so important. Us is more important. They see you and
and for me, quite honestly, why I love to follow you is your voice. I don't know if anyone has ever told you. I mean, you look beautiful, but for me, the reason why I like to follow you and listen to your stories is because I like to listen to your voice. You have a very calm and relaxing voice. I know you love to sing, but this is just for me, you have a really beautiful voice. And I have an affinity for people that have like very calming and relaxing voices. So apart from a beautiful soul, obviously, that you are, an amazing work that you're doing, but personally, I just love to listen to your voice.
Wow, that's amazing.
Alfie, I also have to commend you for actually coming live, hey? Because I do know you're not a person that loves to be in front of the camera. A lot of the times you love to work behind the scenes, etc. So I really appreciate that you've come out live. I feel like also with all this whole experience, it's also kind of taken us out of our little shells, you know. I know your mom is always pushing you to say, you know, Alfie, we need to do this, we need also for the business, and etc. But I mean, just to see you here live, you know, I know it's such a great sacrifice for you. So well done. And you
Thank
know,
you
it's
so
lovely
much.
to
No,
see you all.
I mean, I'm not a shy person, but I'm not a fan of being in front of the camera. So people also who follow us and our stories, I'm the one usually behind the camera and taking all the pictures and making sure that mom.
And then she says, Mom, I already know. Okay, she's coming with the camera, so she's taking just turns on me. So yeah, but then I have to give funny comments. But yeah, we actually enjoy being together in this time, and I feel it very much as a blessing that she could make it come here right in time before the lockdown, and that's why I also feel like for everyone that is alone at home right now, and when we listen to some stories, that I try to listen in between the lines, like that one night when you actually like was so exhausted that I thought maybe I can give you a chat, or even yesterday we listened to another chat where somebody said he was asked what he was missing so much, and he said, I miss the sound of the sea. And I sent him a little video just from the sound of the sea, and he was so surprised. I think it's not about us, but it's about caring of people in our industry. What we have completely forgotten in the past, that it's not a business, it's people behind the business, and that's why we also try to bring more of the story of a person than maybe giving recommendations of what to do and how to do, and like nobody knows what to do really, like after a lockdown is finished, and what will be the situation. We all can speculate, but what we can do, we can now care about ourselves, our colleagues, our friends, our family, and people that get to know them better, a person behind. And that's why we also want to get to know you a little bit better, because the person having the wedding planner is one person in a business, but there's also a person behind, and we want to get a little bit scratch the surface of you, and also like of your colleagues, because you are working in a team. Maybe you can tell a little bit about that, and then maybe also how you cope in Zimbabwe with the situation right now. Like how is like the lockdown going? Since when is it? Because we have people also from other countries. They might be interested how the situation is like with you.
Right. Okay, so for those of you that are going to watch this or are watching this and have no idea why this boy is online and who is he, because these ladies do flowers and he, do I also do flowers and things like that. So my name is Kevin and I'm a wedding planner based in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, which is a beautiful country, guys. All of you need to come to Zimbabwe and experience and I always call it the spirit of Zimbabwe. Because I've also been privileged enough to travel to so many different countries. And there's just something about, and I find this happens a lot in like African countries, but also specifically in Zimbabwe, is just the warm spirit, You can't put your finger as to why you feel so happy and so at peace. It's just the spirit of Africa that we have. And I always call it the feeling from the spirit of Zimbabwe. And if you've never been to Zimbabwe, take a trip down. We have beautiful wildlife, beautiful climate, and so much to see. And I'm very privileged to be able to do the weddings that we do back in my country, in Zimbabwe. We have been doing weddings, well, for myself professionally, I've been doing weddings for the past 6 years. And I say 6 years within the professional basis where I've sort of literally regarded myself as a professional planner. Before that, in the foundation years, it was all just, you know, passion and growing and trying to understand exactly what I want to do and whether I want to be a florist or a caterer or a wedding planner and things like that. So, and a chef as well. So, you know, I've gone through a journey, and until I decided that, hey, you know, I really enjoy doing events and weddings, and which is my dream, and I really am going to literally stick with it. So in our country, we started off really small, you know, doing small events, small weddings, um, using a lot of local flowers, which are absolutely beautiful as well. But you know, just like any business, we have grown and were able to bring in different elements from different countries, um, into the weddings that we do locally in Zimbabwe. And one of those elements that is so beautiful to work with is flowers. And you know, we've had the privilege to order some flowers through Yes Exclusive, some of the best flowers, and you know, still incorporate some local flowers into imported florals so that our experiences are so different for our clients. And then when they walk into their reception, it's not just about the look and feel, it's about the smell that also comes from these flowers. You know, it's just unbelievable just how some of the scents that come out from flowers. And I particularly love flowers as well at weddings, so that's why I'm touching on this a lot.
Well, we too, we are very biased on that side. So.
Yeah, and we want actually to say actually welcome also to Lungi, because Lungi is part of your team and she is mostly responsible for your flowers, and we appreciate like what you as a team all do together, what you pull off, and I mean amazing things, like it looks like America in Africa.
Thank you. And you know, I've also been very blessed to be able to work with you know, my team, the team that I work with, you know, to mention Lungi, our chief florist, and our floral designer, and you know, all the conceptualization, all the floral orders, etc., and that kind of stuff. And then we also have a gentleman called Craig who also does our lifestyle events. Craig is a very stylish man, guys. If you thought I'm stylish, Craig Zhou is literally the king of style. And bringing in our different characters and elements into one business has been able to help us to bring out the productions that we bring out in our country in Zimbabwe. And I'm so very blessed to have such people
I'm
around.
sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to say that also shows that what is mostly difficult in Africa, but that shows when people work together, the result can be amazing. Amazing. That is.
Oh, we just got cut off. I think it's the network. Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, we got cut off. Sorry, that was the internet.
Yes. Sunday morning, lots of people are online.
Yeah, we also have a lot of people here online, and they also say like your voice is amazing, and also thank you very much. The roses smell like heaven. Yeah, that is that's true.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So what I just think right now is also that people realize that reaching out in this particular moment of time is very important. And maybe because we know you are the bubbly person in your team, you know, you are the front man, you're the showman, you are the one that actually a lot of people know, not so much Lungi, not so much Craig, because they're more in the background. Whereas if I maybe put it like in a 1, 2, 3 order, it's you, it's Craig, and then it's Lungi. Just like public, like the ones who like to show themselves. And I completely am with Lungi, actually, like in the order. But just maybe because I think right now still a lot of people are uncertain about the future. A lot of people do not know what the future will bring, whether their business will actually survive, what their options will be. I think it's maybe important for you as a person who likes to connect with other people and is now in lockdown and basically also confined into your like in your four walls.
Yeah.
How do you overcome as now Tendai, Kevin, Tao, like how do you overcome this for your personality? Is it good for you to reach out to do those live sessions, to speak to other people, to hear other people's perspective? Do you more go inside? Actually, like what is it that helps you right now for yourself?
Right. So as you guys know, if you and I know that we follow each other, so I know your kind of characters based on what you post, and you guys sort of know my character from what I post as well. I'm sure you guys realize that I am such an outgoing person. I love to travel. I love to be hands-on with everything with regards to planning weddings and things like that. And for the first part of the lockdowns and this whole coronavirus effect, I I literally, went into a shell because I was so used to my routine of going out and meeting people and talking to people. And, so I kind of just went off social media for a bit because I just didn't know. Like, I was just confused as to, okay, so does this mean that the world is coming to an end or what's happening? Obviously not as dramatic as that, but, during the first days, I think we all did that. We used to watch the news a lot, and everything was just such a scare. There are more cases, there are people dying, and
Yes.
etc. Until I had to make a conscious decision to say, every day I will watch the news at the end of the day before I go to bed to get an update of what's happening, which is very important for you to kind of know what's happening, but not to
Yes.
be every minute looking at what the
Yes.
news is saying,
Constantly
because it
bombarded.
also
Mm.
exactly because it also suppresses you to think there is nothing else that's going to come out of this, etc. So I've started, being more outgoing, and outgoing right now just means being on social media more, connecting with different people that are also sharing their own experiences. I'm also sharing my own experience. We're getting inspiration from each other, and it's such an amazing tool, the social media. Because I was actually saying this to Sylvia the other day, is it's in the small things that we catch on social media that we get inspiration or some kind of encouragement. I remember one
Yes.
on Easter, because I'm not with my family at the moment, and I'm at home alone. I was feeling a bit lonely, like, oh, I wish everything was running as normal and I'd be with my family, because I'm a big
Mm.
family person and I love being with family. But then I
Yes.
watched, I was on Yes Exclusive, and I watched you guys having like an Easter lunch, and at some point you were struggling
Party for
to
two.
open. Yes, you're struggling to open a bottle of
A
wine, and
bottle.
exactly. So and that made me chuckle for a bit. I really enjoyed that, and just how you guys were also creative with your table. I remember there were like some eggs and some Easter bunnies and some birds,
Yes.
and so inspiration comes in like very small things. I
Yeah.
never thought that was going to inspire me or touch me in any way, but I watched that story, and I just felt at peace. Like, you know what, like, this is going to end, and we'll be able to share this kind of moments after. And it's, you just have to make a conscious decision to
Mm.
not drown in a bubble of anxiety, etc. And while I say that, it's also still important to open up your eyes and ears as to what's next. What am I going to do in the business if this goes on for longer? What else can I do in the community of weddings and events that will make an impact, or that will help me keep, rejuvenated and inspired, etc., and things like that. It's important to have those kind of thought processes, with regards to how
Exactly.
can we make a difference. I know recently I saw a post that the markets will be opening up to like a third capacity, and I quickly had to think about how can we implement that opening for our small communities, where should we start doing flower boxes for Mother's Day, because Mother's Day is coming in
Yeah,
really soon.
exactly.
So you need to be on top of the game. You can't really think about
Exactly.
weddings if we're not doing gatherings, and it's not practical for people to have gatherings. Think of something else that you can implement. If
Exactly.
the wedding industry is sort of at a standstill right now, but the flower markets are opening, think about what you can utilize within the floral supplies that can also bring some kind of revenue or some kind of creativity out of yourself, you know?
Yes.
So it's so
Definitely.
important.
And I think this is also what we should do, and in any industry, that you look a bit out of your own box. You know, you take opportunities that come along the way. And I already, when I on Friday heard this message that the market will be open, we already like started contacting. We evaluated, are there flights available from Europe? Are there flights from Kenya? Are there flights from Ecuador? That we can maybe bring a couple of whatever to the market for the flower for the Mother's Day, you know, because this is what people are desperately looking right now. We were talking to local farms maybe to make up boxes for people to send out, you know,
because the flowers are there. You know, I mean, it's not also a manufacturing process specifically for the farmers, and they have they have been very hard hit, because I mean, they see their crops, they're walking in their fields full of flowers every day, and it's just such a shame because there's no possibility for them to actually distribute their flowers around the world. And I mean, Mother's Day for us, when we hear the news, we were like, wow, I mean, it's Mother's Day. Mothers love flowers. And
exactly.
Like, what a blessing it could be to actually show your affection and love for your mom with a beautiful bunch of flowers. Yeah, that would be greght. I mean,
we really hope so that the confusion will be like solved, and that there is a clarity. I'm positive, because when I see like what the status is of the lockdown status, we have 5 status here in South Africa at the moment. We are still in stage 5, and from the 1st of May we should go into stage 4. So in stage 4 there is specific descriptions what is possible and what not to trade. So we really hope that that this will be clear now.
So I'm just throwing in some messages of people and their comments basically on what we are saying.
The event planners hit very hardly, and that is also, I mean, any hairdresser can start after lockdown and can cut hairs again, can make an income, but the wedding planner, we plan long ahead, and even though that we plan long ahead, almost all our year 2020 is gone with this virus, and we have to plan for 2021, but also have to survive in 2020. I think that is the biggest challenge, and that's why there is so much fear. But also, like, beside the fear, I think we all have our days in this lockdown where we are down. I mean, and you said it in a certain way, and we need these little things that brings us up, but it is also okay to be down. You know, I want to say this as an older person, having experience in a lot of things. I mean, nobody has experienced something like that, but everyone in its own life has ups and downs. And I think I never allowed myself to rest. I never did that, because I felt guilty when I rested, because I knew there was still so much to do. You know?
We are just busy. I mean, wedding planners life, like from the outside, looks all shiny and polished, and we're always at great events, and we wearing beautiful dresses and couture design, and we get invited, and we speak, and we do. But I mean, usually our job is when everyone is celebrating, we do a job. When then there is downtime during the week, we prepare for the things that are happening on the weekend. So it's a constant, I would almost call it a 24/7 job, because
it's a hamster wheel.
Yeah, once you have finished a project, you are like starting on the next one, and it's like, it's not that we have time to rest, or we even take time of rest like during week. No, because during the week we have to prepare for the weekend. So I also actually liked it that you like publicly also said, you know, sleeping is not a weakness. You know, I mean,
Exactly.
like seriously, in the beginning of the first week, we just slept through the whole day because we didn't feel guilty like to sleep, because usually like when you sleep until 8 o'clock or something, you're like, oh my goodness, your staff is already working, you know, and like you're just, I mean, like it's not possible to do that because the phone is ringing, you have responsibilities. I mean, we're lucky we do not have like small kids where you actually have to bring them to school, but by 7:30 usually everything needs to start happening already.
Yeah, and when I slept one day until 11 o'clock, I woke up and I said, oh my God, it is maybe since 50 years. It's 50 years ago when I woke up at 11 o'clock. So never in my life. I did that.
God.
And even Alfie yesterday said, Mom, I'm going to bed at 10. Kevin said sleep is necessary.
No, but I think I just want to make it also very human, you know, because I mean, your company's name is VIP Hosting. Ours is Yes Exclusive Flowers or Yes Exclusive Weddings and Events. So our how we present ourselves is usually on a very high standard. Apart from our internet connection right now, we try to do that. But you know, so it is also something that we like to portray to the outside, because this is how we attract our clients. But by the end of the day, I think what's important, specifically in this time now, and I hope that a lot of people also carry that over like post COVID-19, to just show some humanity and humility, you know, so that people really understand that there's always faces behind a brand, and everyone is coping with the situation in a different way. You know, some people who are creative, and I think because specifically our industry is such a creative industry. First of all, we are all people's person. Second of all, we all need sort of a creative outlet, which has currently stopped us from just being who we are. We are not a chef like that can just use the kitchen, whatever kitchen they are in, and just create and do their thing, because we need people to interact with one another. And I think that is something, at least why I have also opened the channel and why I'm showing my face, because I want to be an example also for other people to say, you know what? Yes, I also maybe sometimes want to pull up the blanket over my head and not get out of the bed. By the end of the day, I'm also someone who is responsible to show that we have to get out, we have to show responsibility towards the people that also rely on us, and show them that there is something beyond maybe fear and beyond uncertainty. And I think that's a message, at least that I'm trying to spread, or we're trying to spread, by also bringing in people and showing how you're coping with the situation. For me, it would be interesting, because we know what's happening in South Africa. What is the situation in Zimbabwe, like the lockdown situation? What are your restrictions? Or maybe are you also like on the verge of easing some of the restrictions that you have until now?
Right. So, just for some reason, people have been jokingly saying that Zimbabwe sort of waits on what South Africa says, and then whatever South Africa says, then we also do and implement. But the truth is, we've obviously been locked down like everyone else, you know. So you were not allowed to have any public gatherings or to go to work and things like that. So the event industry is literally dead right now. There is nothing anyone is doing. And, you know, the complicated thing about all this is there isn't sort of like an indication with regards to when things will get up and running again. Out of faith, you know, just entirely out of my faith and how my heart feels, I feel that maybe towards the end of the year, you know, things will start opening up more. And yes, there'll be restrictions with regards to gatherings. Maybe we'll only be allowed to do gatherings that are 100 guests and below, etc. This is just speculation, but there hasn't been an official statement from the government and the people in power to say this is what's going to happen with the events. Guys, remember, our industry is so big within our network. We know the difference that we bring in. We know the revenue that we bring into the economy in our countries. But
Yes.
it seems as if we're sort of forgotten within the processes of big decisions. Um,
Yes.
you know, there are decisions that are being made in the country, and then nothing is being said about events. You know, events normally mean funerals or a government function, etc. But no one
Yes.
talks about celebrations, you know, weddings and things like that. And it makes me quite sad because I know when the event industry is alive and when we're working, we are also contributing into the economy of the country. We are
Definitely.
bringing
Yes.
in tourism, we are bringing in imports, we are bringing in people together. Um, we're such an important industry as well. You know, yes, it's not a need. You know, people won't die if they don't have events, but it brings in a lot into the
Yes.
economy, into our own lives. So it's just
I
quite
think
sad
most
right now that
importantly, I think, sorry if I'm interrupting, but most importantly, in this current situation, we're bringing happiness back to the people.
Yeah.
And I
yeah,
think this is, I mean, a marriage is a celebration of love. And I mean, what more than love and happiness is needed right now, to actually also carry people forward and for them to look forward to something. I mean, maybe
exactly.
not on the big scales that people were maybe hoping to do
Used to.
events just
Yeah.
pre COVID-19. But that also doesn't matter, I mean, of course, we as wedding planners would love to work with a big budget. But by the end of the day, like my own feeling as a planner is, as long as I can assist people in making them more happy and organize a structured event, this is what's necessary right now.
Exactly.
For people to just, because I mean, from the planning side of things, I know how difficult it is for also couples to just put things on hold in uncertainty, because I cannot tell them whether they can have a wedding at the end of the year or in May next year only, in
Yeah.
Feb next year. I can only be there, which I happily do, but like I also need a framework like to work around with, like
Mm.
that is very hard, I think, for the event
Yeah.
industry generally, that we have no institution or no
Yeah.
governmental
Yeah.
body or no
No, we have no lobby.
lobby in a
Actually,
sense.
this is what I thought, what we discussed also, and which is important, which is an important point that you raised. Why we are forgotten as an event industry in total, because the food industry, the tourism industry, like whoever the mining industry, they all have their own lobby. They have their association. They have people. They go out for them and fighting for them with the parliament or the ministers or whatever for their own interest. The alcohol industry, the cigarette industry, everyone. But the event industry has actually no one. And I realized that just like a couple of days ago when we did this petition for making florists be able to sell flowers during COVID-19, that to who to address this actually. So I could address this to the president and to ministers, but there was also a possibility, like in the search field, like to associations. And I realized at that moment we do not have any association that we belong to. Maybe this is
Yeah.
also something for creative people, a couple of them, to maybe not for us, but maybe for others in this, like bigger players in this industry, as an idea to come up to say, okay, we represent our industry as a somehow kind of association, and we should not make the mistake to split up each other again with some, like sometimes what happens that we fight against each other. Maybe this
Right.
is time to combine all our effort and strengths and to speak in one voice. Maybe this
Right.
is out of a crisis every time, and this I said also a couple of times before, every time there's something that comes out good. And I always say I had my best ideas in the times when I had the hardest times, because I had to make a plan. I had
Yeah.
to make a plan how to move on, how to go forward, what not to do maybe. And I think that is it. Nobody could know what's going to happen, but for a lot of people, it might be an opportunity. They just have to look at that. You know, the glass is always half full or half empty. For us as people, I mean, we are, maybe you too, we are positive thinking people. It's always full, but there's also people, is the glass always half empty? I'm not judging that. This is a personality, but maybe you or others can inspire people to see there is a little bit more in the glass than it's just half full.
Yeah, I mean, and as you say that, I just feel that, you know, we also have a say with regards to, you know, maybe if governments or, you know, official, you know, health boards would also want to hear our opinion. I've also had to sit down and think about, okay, does it really make sense for people to be allowed to do events? And the answer is really no, because of the risk of infection and things like that. But there are definitely things like, if event planners are called, event industry, captains of the industry or etc. are called to have an input as to, okay, if you're to have a scenario of having a wedding or an event, and include health and safety, etc., how would you include that? You know, start thinking about that. And I was actually saying that to, you know, just to another planner, that I'm literally going to create a budget column for our clients that says sanitary, you know.
Yes.
You know, sanitary has to be with regards to venues being sanitized, and it's possible, you know, if other factories can open and other businesses can open, ours can too. We just need to take the precautions, make sure that everything is sanitized, make sure that there's the social distancing precautions. A table that normally sits 10 people can sit 5 people, and that's already a change that we've done in terms of just combating the possibility of infection. You know, you know, the introduction of wearing masks at weddings. You know, we're creatives. A mask doesn't have to be boring. It could end up being a wedding favor, where you get to the wedding and the first thing that you get is get a mask that has like some diamante, or a mask
or it
that
has
has
flowers.
Exactly.
Flowers on that are used at the event, you know, so Lungi can take a picture maybe of the flowers, and then it can be incorporated just that it's a fun and also memorable gift or something for guests. Yeah, that's great.
So just like any other business, we are capable as event professionals to look at ways that we can implement the health regulations that the world is implementing into different businesses. We can implement those as well in the events industry and still be able to celebrate. I mean, yes, you know, the events have to be downscaled a number of people, because it's always harder to deal with thousands and hundreds of people. But it's still possible to celebrate within a guest count of 180 or 100 people, 80 people, 60 people, 50 people. A celebration is not dependent on the people attending. So if we are given an opportunity,
use social media to change our events, even if you are maybe only allowed to have 50 guests on your wedding, you can actually open a social channel that all the other guests, maybe they come from even far, or I don't know, which cannot attend, can still attend. That opens other possibilities. And just for that, you said you put a new line in your budget. I remember my sister, she is working in Germany in the hospitality industry. She sends me, like 2 days ago, she sends me a little video, which was quite interesting for me to see how the hospitality industry in Germany, on her island where she's working, has taken action to introduce to the Minister of Tourism how they can open again, maybe in September or October, the hotels. So they introduced how desks, how beds can sanitize, that the TV, the remote is in a little sealed bag, that they, you know, things that the breakfast is not served as buffet anymore, but only plated, and there's a lot of things, and I think I really thought, wow, they have taken action, you know, and I think this is something maybe some of us have to do, to take action to make things.
And also speak to our, all of our partner companies. You know, you also as a planner, you're nothing without a venue, without someone who's supplying your flowers, without a DJ, without lighting, without stationery, without, we are not an island as such. And I think it's a combined effort that is necessary to also combat and come over the challenges that we're all going to face in this industry, whether we are a dressmaker, because dressmaker want to have events, because who are they going to sell their gorgeous gowns to? We want flowers to be sold for beautiful events. We want a photographer that's still capturing the very unique moments that are taking place in someone's lives. So I think it's really also a combined effort that we need, and we should not only
we are all a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, we are all a piece of the puzzle, and we need this combined effort, and also to show the government at the end of the day that we are possible to host events in a safe environment. And I think that's going to be essential over the next couple of months.
And this conversation can obviously, within our own industry, it can extend into the health sector, where we can also sit down with people from the health sector to say, what are their concerns with regards to us hosting events? And then say, okay, we feel that there's a loophole here, there. Then we're able to also, because some of the reasons why we're not able to implement any kind of changes is maybe because we also don't understand the virus and how it, what are the possibilities of contamination? How does it actually happen for someone to be contaminated, etc.?
Sure.
And as we understand more, we also then become creative, because remember, we're also creative. Well, our creativity is to solve problems. And
sure. Yes.
From that conversation where the health sector comes in and says, okay, our risks areas are A, B, C, blah, blah, blah. We then go back as the event industry, sit down and implement our creativity into, okay, how can we creatively combat this? Because not everything is science and technology, and I'm grateful for science and technology. They can do that in their industries, but we also still need to shine in our industry out of creativity.
Sure.
So how can we implement different elements of making sure that everything is sanitized, everything is not at a high risk of contamination and things like that? And that's a conversation that we can have. It's just very difficult right now at this point as to who do we speak to about expressing how we feel, etc. Because in the government, there isn't, and in these big sectors, there isn't anyone. And I'm sure meetings are happening right now about how to combat the virus, etc. But there's always never anyone representing events. So it's just
we feel that too, and I think it goes almost across countries, particularly in the Southern African part, or even in Africa. I'm not sure if I'm saying too much, or I just feel that this industry is not represented in a way on a legal and governmental platform. We all do what we do as best of our own capacity, so what we think is right, we do, but there is no legal body to actually turn to say, okay, fine, like now, for example, with the flowers, we can maybe go to the Department of Agriculture, or there is a body that we can go and ask what to do, but for events, it's
the only idea what you can do, but this is also not the right body, is tourism, minister for tourism, but this is just not actually the right approach. But what maybe also would be interesting, for a lot of people, they listen. You have chatted to many people almost all over the world the last couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. What is it for you personally that was the most thing that you heard or listened that had the most impact or the most touching, for yourself?
Whew. To be honest, there hasn't been a lot of positive, because everyone is dead scared. as to like, okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And sometimes people feel like they've got solutions, and then they get to a certain point where there's a hurdle and there's something that they can't jump over, and they're just like, oh, okay, so what? We'll just have to wait from the authorities. But what I have literally grasped from the conversations that we've been having is this is literally just giving us, especially for events, it's just giving us more time to plan. If a wedding was supposed to happen in September, this is the time to have more time to look at, structures of your business, structures of how the events are going to be run, structures of creativity, what else can you implement into your events, etc. Without having to go out there, etc. Just within your own confinement, taking this as more time to plan. And this is something that I've also been saying to our couples that are also anxious about, okay, so when are we actually going to be allowed to get married? I've simply just told them, take this as enough time to plan. Go into your guest list and literally dissect whether you want everyone who's on your guest list to attend. This process has also kind of shown us the human interaction. We've got all the time. You can tell who's really for you and who's not for you. And so this is time to be sifting very hard. If you're trying to invite 100,000 people to your event, this is the time to literally look down and feel whether this person is worthy of your celebration, of coming to witness your journey in holy matrimony and things like that. Because at the end of the day, having an event doesn't mean that you owe it to everyone. It's such a lot of money that you're spending, etc. And you can't, I for one can't have an event where I just invite everybody, like, please everyone just come,
Yeah.
So it's just a time that
I have the same feeling. Yeah, no, I mean, we on the event side, and I think it's always a big discussion. I mean, everyone who's doing events knows when you speak to your couples, or if you speak to someone who is hosting a lifestyle event, there is a list of, like, I don't know, from here to South America and back, that they all start with, and then it's like, because obviously they want to please also everyone, or they say, you know what, specifically for like weddings, I was invited to my, I don't know, third grade cousin's wedding, and now I have to invite them back.
However, I have never seen them before.
And then the partner says, but I don't know them. Like, well, why should we invite them? And then there's a lot of discussion also amongst like a couple that's taking place. I mean, like, I'm sure everyone has.
And particularly with African weddings, you have 300 people invited and 500 show up. So this is also a fact that happens. But you have a good saying, like what you always say, you should only invite people
that you would miss if they wouldn't be there. So,
right.
So I think, like, I personally, I believe that more smaller, intimate weddings are in general much more valuable for you as someone who's hosting them, because you have the chance to actually interact with your guests. Because, to be quite honest, everything that surpasses, I would say, 100 to 150 guests, you will not have the chance to speak to your guest on your special day. Because if you take out only 1 minute, basically, for 150 people, it's 150 minutes. So like how long your day or your evening is going to be. And I think specifically for lifestyle event, it might be a little bit different. But for a wedding, I personally think you should only invite the people who you would really miss if they wouldn't be there.
Right.
And I think that is
quality over quantity. This is what we always say.
And I think now, in this time of pandemic, you can actually scroll down your phone and see who has maybe reached out to you, like also, to just check on you, to say, hey, how are you doing? Are you okay? How are you feeling? How are you coping? And maybe it's also a reminder for a lot of people. And I mean, I love my grandparents, for example, to bits. I really do. And I mean, we are very big in family generally.
Right.
I think I want to also encourage people to also check on the elderly, because they are, I don't think they are forgotten, but in our usual daily lives, they are not our first priority.
Yeah.
And I think this time now should show us also that family is just the most important thing, and it's anything that matters. There's nothing above a life. There's no celebration, there's no money, there's no nothing. Like, family is really the most important thing, and you should really connect to the people that you love.
I love so much that video you have taken when you took your grandparents
Yes.
to South Africa. That was just like unbelievable. I love that. And I think that also shows, your heart and your personality, not the Kevin that goes out with a nice suit and is talking, that is the Kevin that actually we want to know and we get to know. And I think this is more important than anything else. I mean, from my perspective.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
How are they doing?
They've been so anxious, eh? Like, because we obviously are not together at this time, and they also like read the news. My grandparents are quite literate, so they can read the news and they can understand the intensity of the situation. So they're so worried about so many things. And Sylvia, you being older, that being older means you think about so many things. So they're not just thinking about the virus, but they're also thinking about the effects of the virus. Are we going to have jobs? Are we going to have income?
Yeah.
So I remember my grandfather actually sent me a message before, and he was like, if you are struggling financially or anything like that, we've got cattle here. So you can, we can sell some of our cattle so that you can, use some of the money for your upkeep, because I know maybe right now you're not able to make any money. And, that's those people, the older people, have their hearts for us, over and above everyone loving our florals and everything that we create. Those people genuinely love us. And I'll tell you, there's no week or literally after every 2 days, I get a message from my grandparents. Are you okay? Did you eat today? Like the other day, I actually laughed so hard. My grandmother was like, so has your food run out? Then I was like, no. Then she tells, so they do a bit of farming. So she tells me, this year we yielded quite a lot of, peanuts, and, we've got some pumpkin and things like that. And we wish we could send you some. And then she says, do you have enough to eat? And then I was like, Grandma, I'm really fine. And then she says, please take a picture of your fridge and what's in it. I just want to see something. So
that you're not right.
Yeah. So you can tell just how anxious they are. So I've made it a point that every other day I contact them to let them know, before they ask me, I let them know, hey, I'm fine. I just had a good meal today. I cooked this and things like that, because their peace of mind is very important. If so at this time where we can't take care of our brides, let's take care of our families. Let's talk to them more. Let's make time. Let's give them a call. So for me, with my grandparents, because they're very, very close to me, and I really love them more than I love weddings. So it just really it really touches me just how they're feeling right now with regards to just being so anxious about everything. And it's so important that I just let them know all the time that I'm fine. And I and I don't get too much into detail with them with regards to weddings and that. We just talk about everything else. We talk about
about life. I mean, it's not this time right now is not to talk about the job. It's to talk about life and to hear stories. I mean, we talk to my grandparents, to your parents, every single day.
Sometimes in the morning at 7:30, my mom gives me a video call and she says, are you up again? And I say, no. And she said, okay, then we can have a video because I'm in bed still. So then we have a chat together. She's in her bed, I'm in my bed. And we are chatting, how the day will go. And obviously, like, the content is not so much at the moment because I cannot go out, they cannot go out. What we are talking about? We are talking about the coffee we are having, we are talking about the weather, we are talking about the food, But however, we are checking on each other and we enjoy this. And even sometimes I take a little photo of, because it's so cute, that the both of us are in bed and having a chat in the morning with our coffees. And I treasure this because I do not know how long I will still have that, And I feel like I want to treasure this in my heart and I think the family is a big part of who we are. And you said that
Exactly.
also. We would not be who we are without our family. I have a lot of my mom's genes, so we are quite similar, you know. So
Right.
this is not always good, I can tell you. It also clashes from time to time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I think I appreciate that she's there, that she's still in her age active, that we could learn her a couple of years ago how to use a phone,
How to do
make
WhatsApp.
how
Now
to
she's like really, she's sending us
videos.
WhatsApp videos. So for a lot of people who follow us also on our flower Instagram, sometimes I just post pictures that she's posting or sending us from her garden of small
Yeah,
little flowers she enjoys growing, like seeing to grow. And it's just so beautiful that this, like in this way, we can still share, you know, we can still
right.
share part of her daily life, and we can show her some of our
And it's not so far away. I mean, there's thousands of kilometers between, you know, and
for us. I mean, for us it's even more difficult. For
yeah.
you, maybe you could, like, when lockdown is over, easily go and visit your
Yeah,
grandparents, you
yeah.
know. For us, we have to really hop onto a plane and cross the ocean
And we
and
still don't
everything.
know when this will be possible again. And I mean, still a lot of you know that my husband is still in Europe, so he got stuck there, so he cannot come. And we don't know if he will come like in months or in half year. Like a couple of days before, he was joking and he said, "Do you think I will spend another Christmas here?" Because he was there last Christmas. We don't know. And I mean, we all have our personal like challenges, you know.
Yes.
But I think what is important for us to give hope, and also to send out the little nice things that we see. I mean, like 2 days ago, I had a chat with one of the clients, and sometimes we make our jokes just for ourselves and we share it on Instagram or whatever, and nobody is actually watching it. Yeah. So yeah, so that is. But she said, you know what? I had a couple of days down, and to just like listen to your voices and to have to see the laugh that make my day. And even we discussed if is it really okay that we laugh? You know, I mean, that's a question that we discuss, you know, because in this everybody like is or not everybody, but where everybody in this situation is concerned and a lot of people are down. Is it okay that we laugh? And
Yeah,
you know, you don't know. You don't know what you do right and you do wrong, right?
that's correct.
Yeah, but what I just want to say is, I want to just say, keep on making other people happy. I love to follow
Definitely.
you. I love to hear your
Thank
voice.
you.
And I think, like, from the comments that we see already, that a lot of people also, like, they appreciate you and your insights, and also the way how you are coping with the situation and also being honest about it. I think that makes you even more lovable. And I thank you for your time, or we thank you for your time to
Can I
spend.
have a wish?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, guys. And yeah, I mean, throughout this, let's keep in touch, guys. Let's stay positive. Hopefully, when the flowers are all up and running, we will be ordering some flowers. So let's just keep really positive. And thank you so much for creating this platform where we can share our experiences and things like that. I personally really appreciate it. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you so
May I
much.
have a wish, Kevin?
Yes.
Can you sing for me?
My mom's birthday was on the 1st of April, and we had no guests, you know.
Oh, shame. Oh, but you got some cake and stuff, right? I think someone
Yes,
delivered a
we
cake to you. I was
did.
just like, wow, that's really nice. I'm busy trying to think which song should I sing. It's so difficult.
You can even sing happy birthday. It's fine for me. At
Happy
least I hear
belated
your
birthday.
voice.
Okay, I will sing. I'll sing "Happy Birthday" for you in your DM, Sylvia. But right now, I'll sing a song that may be relevant to this because this is going to be over one day. It's a song that was done before by, I think it was TD Jakes, etc. It goes, storm is over now. I can see the sunshine somewhere beyond the clouds. I can see the rainbows, heaven is over me. So the storm is over, guys. All right, guys. Have a great day.
Have a lovely Sunday. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Stay safe.